Hey everyone, it's Seabass here, and today I'm going to show you how to properly gut and clean a squid. Woo! So here are my two favorite ways on how to prepare a squid. And they are either do it in strips or do it in rings. And I'm going to show you how to do both of those. But the first one we're going to do is cut it into strips. So I'm just going to go over the squid a little bit. There's fins on each side of the squid. This body part is called the mantle. Right here is the collar. And they swim this way. So they're propelling out water this way, which makes them go that way. So they're swimming that way. There's the eye right here. Right there, big old eye. They have two eyes, of course. And right here, there's like a little jet-like thing called the siphon. That's where they basically pump out all the water, which makes them move in the water. And they suck in the water just through their collar right here, and then they push it out through their siphon. They have 8 arms, and on the inside of the arms, there's little suction cups, sucker cups, and then they have 2 longer tentacles right here. As you can see, they're a little bit wider than these tentacles. They have 2 of them. And they can regenerate their arms. So if they do lose an arm, then they can easily regenerate it back. Okay. The first thing what you want to do to cut it into strips, just take the squid. I'm using scissors because it's just a lot easier. Go right down the middle. So right where the siphon is right here. Or you can do it pretty much anywhere. But I like to do it pretty much symmetrical. And just cut it down. Cut it down the middle right here. Just like that. Scissors make it a lot easier than a knife so you don't accidentally cut yourself. And just looking at it right here, there's the ink sac. If we kind of look over here, there's the heart somewhere over here. And this right here on each side of the squid, on its guts, these are the gills right here. They're black because when you catch them, they're full of ink. So these are the gills right here. That's the ink sac. Here's the part where the squid pumps out the water, where the siphon is right here. You go inside, this big part right here, that's the ink sac right there. The liver is kind of right here, around this area. And then the stomach is pretty much somewhere up here, right here, this white part. And that's also the sac, if this is a male. If there's a female, then there will be a bigger sac with full of eggs in it. And there's like an esophagus somewhere in here, but it's all covered. But what you want to do, and also behind here, I'll show it to you later, it's a thing called a pen. It's when you gut squid, it almost looks like plastic, almost looks like a plastic feather pen. So it's called a pen, but it's also called the internal shell. So what you can do to the tentacles is you can just, right where the eye is just cut it right there. Cut it right across. And if you're not a huge fan of the tentacles, then you don't have to do this step. But right here, so inside is where the beak is. And it sticks out like that. And all you have to do is just kind of squeeze it a little bit, and it pops out this little thing where the beak is and where all the muscles for the beak are. And then there should be a little hole left where your squid tentacles are. And that makes sure that there's no beak in there. You're not eating a beak. So go put that in your little bowl, and you could just put this in the little garbage. And next I'm just gonna pull all of this out, so it doesn't really take that much work. All you have to do is just kind of pull it just like that. Pretty much all of it comes out. And make sure do not pop that ink sac, because ink will get everywhere and it will stain your hands like me right here. So throw that away. Right here, there's the 2 gills right here. You want to take that out. Plop that in the garbage. Oh, come on. There we go. Plop that in the garbage. Come on, get off my hands. There we go. And this is what I was talking about right here, the pen. It just kind of attached to it, so if you can kind of get your finger underneath of that, and you can pop it right out. You can see it's kind of like plastic looking and shiny. Take that out. And next, what you want to do is, if you want to, You can take out these fins right here, or if you want a little extra meat on there, you can leave them on. But really what you have to do is just kind of get your finger underneath of that right there. Just kind of peel it out, and it'll kind of pop right off. Sorry for the noise in the background, Mountain Street. Just kind of like that, and you can go ahead and throw it away. And you also want to take off all this excess skin right here because it's all slimy and gross. So you can just peel that right off. It should come off pretty easily. Kind of sticks to your hands a little bit. Yeah. Just kind of peel off all of that. It's okay if you don't get some of this, it won't hurt you. There you go, pretty much like that. And if you have a sink nearby, you can wash all this off for your next step. Since I don't have a sink right here, I won't do that. The next way you want to do, put aside your scissors. Take your knife. I'm just happening to use my fillet knife. You can use any knife. Go to the side, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut it down the middle, and we're going to cut it on each side. So we're going to cut this in half, and then we're going to cut the halves in half, if that makes sense. But first, what we're going to do, since it's going to be really hard if we do this step later, our next step is to slice it diagonally about an inch apart throughout the whole entire squid. So when the squid cooks, it can easily roll, or it can easily cook, and it gets more flavor into the squid. So if we could just start up here from the top. Sorry, I have to kind of maneuver around my camera right here. But just make an easy slice. Make sure not to cut too hard or else you cut through the whole entire squid. So kind of do light slices. Just like that, all the way across the squid. And you can kind of, if you want to, you can angle your knife a little bit just to get a little more precise cut and a little deeper cut. Just like that. Blammo. Now, flip it over and do that same thing to the other side. Not the other side, but the other way, other direction. So you're kind of making an X throughout the whole entire squid. Just like that. And see, I cut a little bit too deep right there, so it peeled off. So make sure not to cut too hard. Cut diagonally, diagonally, diagonal, diagonal. There we go. Okay. Next step is to simply cut the squid fillet in half. So right down this line right here that kind of acts like a little guide, so you can just cut down, or pretty much symmetrical with the squid. So you cut it into 2 pieces. And then after that, if you want to keep the pieces of squid like this, you can for bigger pieces, but I like to do it in little smaller pieces. So I'll cut the half in half. Just like that. Do it to the other one. Blammo. Just like that. Make sure all the pieces are separated. And I'll wash all this squid ink off later. And there you go. That is an easy way on how to do the strips of squid for this way on how to prepare your squid. And these ones, they can be perfect for either putting into your soup, or you can either deep fry it. What you do is just you throw a whole bunch of panko bread and how you normally fry things. But there you go. I'm going to put this into the bowl. And the next way on how to prepare your squid, and what I love to do, is cut it into rings. So again, I'm not going to use the scissors right here. So we'll cut the head off. And these squid, I caught this earlier from the wheel. And these squid are just freaking humongous. I mean, it's literally bigger than the size of my palm, okay? That's a pretty big squid. This is at least a 9-inch squid. So we're gonna cut the head off like that. Take out the beak, squeeze it. Take out this big old nasty beak. Plop that in the garbage. Tentacles into the bowl. And now, that is basically what you all want to do. You do not need, actually you'll need your knife later. But now what you want to do, you do not want to cut it in half because you want to cut it into rings. So what we can do right now is we can basically just take this off. You don't have to do this in direct order. But take the fins off, just like that. And sometimes it might even peel back that skin right there. And just peel off the rest of the skin. As you can see, it's like really stretchy and weird. It sticks to your fingers like that. It's all kinds of gross. But trust me, calamari is delicious. It is absolutely amazing. Oh, come on, get off my finger. There we go. Okay, once you have all of the skin off of the mantle, what you want to do now is you want to get all the guts out of the squid, because you don't want to cut it with all the guts in there. So basically what you want to do is just hold the squid into your whichever less dominant hand you are, and just kind of pull out and wiggle. Sometimes you have to go right behind the head right here on the other side of the jet right here, and you kind of just push that back and kind of separate the guts from the skin, and just kind of pull it. And if you do it correctly, the majority of the guts should all come out, just like that. And there's some stuff in there that you have to dig your finger in there, but if you do it correctly, that's all the stuff that you get out, and you can put that into the garbage. And now, as you can see, there's still more guts in there. Right here, here's the pen. Take that out. Pull it just like that. Stick that in the garbage. And now, if you see in there on this side and this side, those are the gills. You want to get those out. Let's see if we can try to get that out. Sometimes you might need to add water into here and kind of make it a little bit easier. Or sometimes you can guys stick both fingers and kind of just claw it out. Oh, come on. I almost got you. Come on. And if you can't get it out, then you can always take it out later when you cut it. There we go. There's one. And there's number 2 down there. Oh, there's another part of the gut right there. Take that out. Sometimes you gotta stick your finger all the way down there. All right, there we go. Pretty much all clean. You can get some of the excess stuff out when you cut it later. Oh, take that gut out. Throw this all away. But now what you want to do is take the squid, lay it flat on the cutting board, and you want to cut the squid into probably about 1/2 inch pieces. Maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch pieces, depending on the size squid. If it's smaller squid, then you want to cut it into smaller pieces. But if it's bigger squid, cut it into bigger pieces. So right here, you want to cut it about that much. So probably about the size of your thumbnail. And cut it into good 1/2 inch pieces like that. And as you can see, when you cut it, it comes out into little rings like this. So set that aside. Cut it into another ring, and another ring. Make sure your fingernails are like that, so don't cut yourself. Another ring. And if you want to keep this end piece like this, you can, but since it's a little bit bigger, I'll cut it into another ring. And as you can see, right there we have our squid rings. And these are really good. What you can do, if you like pho, you can add these into your pho, and they're just as good. And also you can deep fry these too, as the like little squid ring calamari. So we can all put that into our bowl that we're gonna cook later. Boom. See, this is some of the smaller squids compared to this. This is a little smaller squid. On the other hand, this squid is about average size for winter squid, and some of these squid can get even bigger than this. So size comparison real fast. This is a 7 or 9 inch. This is a 9 inch fillet knife right here, so it's a pretty big squid. And those are my 2 favorite ways and how to prepare squid that are absolutely amazing. So I'm just gonna cut some of this more squid. Do it fast action. Throw the garbage. Put that in the bowl. Do you want to cut this one into a ring or two? I'll cut this into a strip. So we can cut it down the middle. Just like that. Ooh, and as you can see right here, this is a female squid. Because if you look very, very closely, you can see all those little tiny, tiny dots. And what those are is those are little baby squid. And they almost feel like jelly too. So if you poke them and they kind of feel like jelly and kind of squishy, wet memory foam, I think so. Those are baby squid eggs. So you can go ahead and throw that away. Throw the pen away. Get rid of the gills. Get rid of the skin. Sometimes it's really hard to get rid of the skin. Get rid of the fins. Scissors aside. Cut it. Make sure it's flat. Boom, 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 boom. That's the same side. I gotta cut it this way. Boom, 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 boom. Down the middle. Cut the half and half. Cut this other half and half. Blammo. Another squid done. Get rid of the beak. Cut this one into a ring. Oh. See all that ink that comes out if you don't do it properly? Yeah, that is a big mess. Okay, I'm gonna go wash my hands real fast.